Good evening, YouTube. So, I have made it to Uxbridge, that's Uxbridge, Massachusetts, which isn't, I don't know how far from Boston, sort of ways, but Massachusetts isn't that big, so nothing's ever really far from Boston. So anyway, I'm unloading here in the morning at 8 a.m. and so this place where I'm unloading at will let you in ahead of time. They've got lots of parking in here, so they guard let me in, and so I'm parked here for the night. So I still daylight when I got here. I went ahead and ate and what have you before I got here because I knew that according to my Qualcomm, place had parking, and so it's always good to start my day out where I'm unloading at, and then that way I don't end up having to drive before I get to the place and start the 14-hour clock. It just makes it more efficient from a logbook standpoint, an electronic logbook standpoint, to be able to unload right where I'm at, and then I don't have to actually start the clock until sort of when I leave to go to the next load. So very nice day today, in the 80s again. Now tonight here, of course this is Massachusetts, so it's going to be cooler. It was about 72 when I stopped. I think it might have been warmer earlier in the day, and then according to my phone widget, it's supposed to get down to about 58 or so this evening for the overnight low, which that's not bad. That's probably pretty nice sleeping weather. Right now I have my truck's the battery operated air conditioner for the sleeper. I've got that running, and it's not, I don't have it really cold in here, but it was a little stuffy, and so I turned it on. And if I get too cold in the middle of the night, I can always turn it off. So anyway, I just finished recording a podcast. If you haven't been listening to the podcast, or if you didn't even know that I have an audio podcast, you can find it at truckertompodcast.com. The past couple of podcasts, I've been reading from a book. It's the name of it is Gravity Driven Universe. The author is Roy Masters, and I like to consider Roy my friend. In any case, I actually, when was it? Probably about 2 summers ago, hosted a radio program, when he was the guest, and was on the air for about 2 hours, and really had a wonderful time. So maybe someday I'll have him on my podcast. But in any case, he has written this book. He's been writing it for a long time. It's actually a thesis on it's sort of a theory of everything type of thing. How does matter, what creates matter, and so on and so forth. So that, I've been reading from that, and my intention is to read the entire thing over, and it's going to take quite a number of podcasts to kind of go through the entire book, but that's fine. But in any case, this I read chapter 4 in the podcast this evening, and it's a rather long chapter, but it really gets into the meat of his theory of what sort of, what kind of creates matter. Where does matter come from? And if you're either going to, some of this material is kind of dense, and it may, it's kind of physics speak, and it's not impossible. People think, oh, it's physics, I can't understand it, and then of course we've been preached at for years that Einstein, there are only a few people can really understand his theory, and so on and so forth. Nonsense. Anybody that's reasonably intelligent and curious can understand these things. There's nothing magic or mysterious about it. to the extent that you really, if you can understand it. And so, but this chapter 4 of this book, Gravity Driven Universe, really has the potential, if it's in you, to touch you deeply, because then you if you can realize that what sort of causes matter to exist in the first place, then you realize that if you believe in God, as I do, as I do, I know there's a God. Then you understand that the very that is the very force behind everything. And but this really kind of explains it, and makes it, where the rubber meets the road, and what is at the basis of our existence, and it really kind of explains it. And so it really has the potential, I believe, to kind of touch you deeply, and kind of, if anything, make you realize that there really is a creator, there is a purpose, and so on and so forth. And that may, it's possible that can help you, because I realize that people are sort of separated, we're all sort of separated from that to varying degrees. So this has the potential to really, kind of help you, kind of help you understand that sort of God sort of creates and sustains everything, and if you can kind of understand that, then that can kind of help you, I think, make the leap, and maybe help motivate you to, not just lose yourself in whatever your favorite diversion is, and really begin to, to think about things and in such a way that you begin to realize, why am I here? Start asking those questions, why am I here, and so on and so forth, because those kind of questions scare a lot of people, and I think that's at the root of why a lot of people sort of end up running into diversions, because these sort of questions and thinking about these sort of thoughts are sort of frightening, and they can be a little bit painful as well. If you've spent your life sort of running away from the very thing that could define you, and you see it as this big bad guilty conscience, and it's really the thing that wants to, it's the thing that is offering to define you, so. But in any case, that's in my podcast at truckertompodcast.com, and it's this book is a very worthwhile read. I've also linked to it on Amazon, so you can click on that and go right over to it, or you can just go to Amazon yourself and type in Gravity Driven Universe. I highly recommend the book. Again, there's a lot of scientific jargon in there, but I don't know, the whole thing with physics is, I really find it fascinating, and it's almost like I can't know enough about it. I've really, I don't know where the interest came from, but I've always been kind of curious, but this is sort of, lately, this is just sort of, really begun to fascinate me, and because I've read other books about it and so on and so forth, but this has really begun to fascinate me, and I think it's quite relevant, because what can motivate us? What can motivate us? I think the very root, if you can understand that there really is a purpose to existence, there really is a potential for you to find your purpose for why you exist. If you can really believe that, if you can kind of make the leap and really believe that there's a purpose, and understand that, here's the structure, here's why, here's the structure of it, here's why you exist. You know, someone's explaining physically why you exist, and so on and so forth, why the universe exists, then it's easy to sort of see the purpose. It becomes a lot easier. So I highly recommend the book. And but in any case, I'll be continuing to read that, or to read it until I go all the way through it. But it is extremely worthwhile. And again, kind of if you're so inclined, I think it really has the potential to really make you sort of think about these things, and it really has the potential to touch you on a very deep level, if it's within you to do that. Now, there are other people that this is either going to be boring, or they're going to be scared senseless of it. And if it is, quit listening, quit watching. Simple as that. So anyway, from Uxbridge, Massachusetts, I'll catch you later.